Can I tell you a story about how, as an introvert, I went from one conversation to creating an international professional group? The short version is I got into conversations I cared about. That's what was in it for me. And that's what allowed me as an introvert to engage in those conversations. So, rolling back real quick, 2008, I started a local professional group in my city, Agile Orlando. It did okay for a while. We had talks and things, and then it kind of faded out for various reasons. And then a friend of mine, we had lunch together, and they said, "Wow, I really wish that had stuck around. There was some good conversations going on there." I went, "Yeah, what if we just focus on the conversations?" So that's what was in it for us to stay together as that group. So we relaunched it just with conversation, using a format called Lean Coffee that kind of allowed everyone to get their ideas in, their questions in each conversation we had. And it grew to 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, eventually 200 people. And we went to have regular talks, but always with a conversational piece that allowed people to learn new things, ask questions of their professional peers, and really get something out of every event. And then I got curious what other conversations were happening in my state. So I drove the 2.5 hours to Tampa to meet people there. And I drove the 4 hours to Miami to meet people there and to give some talks, but also just to connect and have those conversations with folks. And that ended up in a conference, Agile Open Florida, which was all about conversations. What were the questions? What were people worried about in our industry? What were they excited about that they wanted to share? And those conversations continued to grow. That conference got to about 200, 250 eventually. And then one of the larger professional organizations tapped us and said, "Wow, we like what you're doing there in Florida. Could you do that internationally?" So we looked at all the similar professional groups that were worldwide and how were they supporting conversations. So not just lecture format type of talks, but how could people actually ask their questions, share ideas, share their concerns? And those are the groups that we try to support. So that ended up being a worldwide group. So as an introvert, what's in it for you? Have conversations you care about. What's in it for others? You should find that out and be curious. And using that approach, you can have some great conversations with people almost anywhere. Hope that helps. I'm Mark Kilby.